Welcome to this video, where we explore the top 3 most valuable Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel coins, small coins that have surprised collectors with their incredible rarity and value. Despite being one of the most common coins in circulation, a few Jefferson nickels stand out as true treasures worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's dive into the 3 most valuable examples in this iconic series. Let's get started. First up, the 1974 Monticello Jefferson nickel. Though millions of these coins were made, each circulated piece tells its own story, especially when it appears in a unique condition like the black-toned example we're focusing on today. Let's uncover the history and mysteries behind this iconic 5-cent coin. The Jefferson nickel series has been a part of American pocket change since 1938, featuring the enduring portrait of the 3rd President, Thomas Jefferson. By 1974, the design had already spent decades in circulation, yet it continued to capture the essence of American heritage through its classic profile and architectural reverse. As you hold a 1974 nickel, the first thing that stands out is the familiar portrait on the obverse. Created by sculptor Felix Schlag, Jefferson's left-facing profile displays a strong and dignified expression, showcasing the timeless appearance known to collectors and everyday Americans alike. On circulated examples, especially those that have darkened over time, Jefferson's facial features may appear softened or worn. The black coloration is often a result of oxidation, environmental exposure, or prolonged handling, all of which give the coin a well-traveled appearance that collectors sometimes find intriguing. Below Jefferson's portrait sits the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase that has long held a prominent place in American coinage. On well-worn coins, the motto may appear faint, blending subtly into the darkened surface of the nickel. To the left of the portrait is the word "Liberty," followed by the date, 1974. These elements often show various degrees of wear depending on how long the coin circulated and the environments it passed through. Some black-toned nickels show surprisingly sharp dates, while others appear smoothed to a gentle curve. The absence of a mint mark indicates that this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In 1974, Philadelphia struck hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels, making it one of the most common issues of the decade. However, each circulated coin carries subtle characteristics that make it uniquely its own. Turning the coin over reveals the beautifully detailed depiction of Monticello Jefferson's Virginia estate. Felix Schlag's artistic representation highlights the classical architecture and symbolic importance of Jefferson's historic home. On circulated black examples, Monticello's steps, dome, and pillars may show heavy wear, yet the general outline remains instantly recognizable. This image has become a staple of American numismatic history, admired for both its simplicity and significance. Above the building is the phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning, "out of many, one." This motto remains an enduring reminder of unity, even on well-handled coins where the letters appear softened by decades of use. Below Monticello sits the word Monticello, followed by the denomination 5 cents. Depending on the severity of circulation, these inscriptions may range from crisp to nearly faint, each telling part of the coin's long journey through commerce. Encircling the bottom is United States of America, grounding the entire design with a sense of national identity. Even on heavily darkened coins, this lettering often remains readable due to its deeper engraving. The black coloration seen on some 1974 nickels is not original to the coin. The color typically forms from exposure to moisture, air pollutants, pocket grime, or even extreme heat. While not rare, this type of toning gives the coin a rugged look that some collectors describe as battle-worn. A circulated black nickel may not carry significant monetary value, but its historical and visual charm holds an appeal of its own. Collectors interested in unique patinas often enjoy the dramatic contrast created by the darker surface. Despite being a common date, the 1974 no-mint mark nickel is an important part of the Jefferson series. It represents an era of mass production, daily commerce, and the durability of American coinage during the 1970s. For many collectors, nickels like this one serve as starter coins, gateway pieces that spark interest in deeper numismatic study. Their affordability makes them accessible to new enthusiasts. Examining a circulated coin also provides insight into the life it lived. Every scratch, discoloration, and worn detail paints a picture of countless hands and countless transactions over decades. Some collectors specialize in finding black-toned or environmentally affected coins, appreciating them as natural relics rather than flaws. These coins become art pieces in their own right, embodying the unpredictable nature of metal and time. Others seek these pieces solely for educational purposes, comparing circulated examples with uncirculated or proof versions to understand wear patterns and grading standards. A heavily worn 1974 nickel may also pique the curiosity of history lovers. It existed during a time of cultural change, economic shifts, and evolving minting technology. Imagining where it has traveled becomes part of the enjoyment. While the coin may not command high value, it certainly carries historical authenticity. A circulated black condition nickel shows the raw reality of a coin that truly lived through its intended purpose. Even without a mint mark, the Philadelphia strikes remain highly collectible in full progression sets, helping collectors complete year-by-year albums covering multiple decades. As with any circulated coin, it's important to handle a black-toned nickel gently. Abrasive cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its collectible interest. Most enthusiasts prefer coins exactly as they are found. Coin roll hunters sometimes stumble across darkened nickels like this and set them aside for their character, even if they do not hold premium value. They help diversify the visual mix of a Jefferson nickel collection. The toning patterns on black coins vary greatly. Some show uniform darkness, while others display smoky gradients or patchy surfaces. Each coin becomes a unique specimen because no two environmental exposures are identical. When photographed under bright lighting, these dark nickels reveal surprising textures, showing shadows and highlights that lighter coins do not display. This makes them visually striking for collectors and video presentations. If you find a 1974 nickel in similar condition, you hold a piece of everyday American history that has endured for more than half a century. Its darkened surface tells a story long after its mint shine has faded. Though simple, the Jefferson nickel remains a cornerstone of U.S. numismatics. Collectors appreciate its longevity, its unmistakable design, and the subtle variations created through circulation and time. The 1974 no-mint mark nickel serves as a reminder of America's enduring coinage traditions. Whether pristine or heavily worn, each piece reflects the strength of its metal and the legacy of its design. As we wrap up this exploration, the black, circulated 1974 Jefferson nickel stands not as a rare treasure, but as a symbol of history in the hands of everyday people. Next up, the Jefferson nickel series has long been a staple of U.S. coinage, having first debuted in 1938. By 1985, the design had already seen decades of use, yet it continued to serve as a reliable workhorse coin in American transactions. Millions of these nickels passed through hands, pockets, and registers, gaining countless marks of circulation, each one shaping its individuality. The obverse of the coin features the familiar left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. On a circulated 1985 nickel, the portrait often shows noticeable wear, with Jefferson's cheekbone, jawline, and hair details smoothed by years of handling. Above Jefferson's head is the phrase, "In God we trust." On a circulated coin, these words may appear slightly worn or softened, depending on how long the nickel remained in active use. Despite the wear, the motto typically stays readable. To the left of Jefferson's face sits the word Liberty, followed by the year 1985. The date is especially important to collectors, and the level of wear on the numbers can help determine how heavily the coin circulated. Some 1985 nickels show crisp, deep numbers, while others have a more rounded, aged appearance. One defining feature of this coin is the small P mint mark. Located to the right of the portrait, the P indicates that this nickel was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Before 1980, Philadelphia coins usually did not carry a mint mark, but starting that year, the Mint began placing its identifying letter on nickels, making the 1985 P a continuation of that tradition. On circulated examples, the mint mark may show slight fading, but it typically remains clear enough to identify. For collectors, this small letter adds historical context and helps distinguish the coin from Denver or San Francisco issues. Turning the coin over reveals the reverse design, showcasing Jefferson's famous home, Monticello. The image is a detailed representation of the neoclassical structure, depicting its pillars, dome, and entrance with artistic precision. In circulated condition, the Monticello details may appear smoothed or flattened. The steps and doorway are often the first areas to lose clarity, while the roof and dome may show more subtle wear. Even so, the general shape of the building remains unmistakable. Above the mansion is the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. On a heavily circulated nickel, Some letters may show slight fading, yet the message continues to stand out as an important element of the design. Beneath the building, the word Monticello is displayed, followed by the denomination 5 cents. On circulated coins, these inscriptions often remain readable, though softened around the edges. At the bottom, encircling the reverse, is the inscription United States of America. Because these letters are deeply engraved, they typically hold up well through circulation and stay visible even on older worn examples. The circulated condition of a 1985 nickel tells a story of decades of use. The dull gray coloration, small scratches, and smooth high points all serve as reminders of its journey through countless everyday transactions. Many circulated nickels develop small contact marks from bumping against other coins. These marks give each piece its own unique character, especially on coins from the mid-1980s that have spent nearly 40 years in circulation. Despite the heavy mintage numbers of 1985, each circulated nickel holds sentimental and historical value. These coins represent an era when nickels were essential in vending machines, bus fares, phone booths, and daily purchases across the country. For beginning collectors, the 1985 P. Jefferson nickel offers an accessible entry point into the hobby. While not rare, it introduces collectors to mint marks, wear patterns, and the long-running series of Jefferson nickels. More advanced collectors may seek out high-grade examples, but circulated pieces still play an important role in completing date and mint sets. They help tell the full story of the series, showing how design elements age over time. The circulated condition also makes the coin ideal for studying details like strike quality. Some 1985 nickels show strong strikes with clear lettering, while others appear softer, demonstrating the variations that can occur across a single year's production. Handling a circulated nickel also provides a physical connection to history. It's intriguing to imagine how many hands a single coin has passed through over the decades and the countless moments of everyday life it has witnessed. The nickel's composition of copper and nickel allows it to withstand years of wear without corroding easily. This durability has helped Jefferson nickels remain in circulation far longer than many other denominations. Occasionally, circulated 1985 nickels can develop mild toning or discoloration, giving them an aged appearance that some collectors find appealing. These natural color variations highlight the effects of environment and time. Every scratch and worn surface tells part of the coin's biography. It may not be rare or valuable, but it carries decades of American history, preserved in metal and motion. Coin roll hunters often encounter 1985 nickels, many of them showing heavy circulation. While most are common, the thrill of searching and finding well-preserved examples keeps collectors engaged. Sometimes, a circulated nickel may reveal subtle die characteristics or minor anomalies that escaped quality control at the mint. These small quirks can add extra interest to an otherwise ordinary coin. The 1985 P nickel represents a continuation of America's long-standing design traditions. Jefferson's portrait and Monticello have become iconic symbols, recognized by generations of Americans. As we observe the coin's circulated wear, it becomes clear that its purpose has been fully realized. It served individuals across the country, completing transactions and contributing to the rhythm of daily life. The worn surfaces and softened details are not flaws, they are evidence of experience. They reflect a journey through decades of pockets, coin jars, counters, and machines. Even today, many 1985 nickels remain in circulation, though increasingly worn. Each surviving piece stands as a miniature time capsule of the mid-1980s, a reminder of an era now long past. Despite its commonality, this coin deserves appreciation for its resilience and design. Its simple yet meaningful imagery has stood the test of time for more than 4 decades. As we conclude our deep dive look into the 1985 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark, it becomes clear that even the most ordinary coins have stories worth telling. This circulated nickel carries history, character, and the marks of a life fully lived. Next up, the Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, and by 1941 it was still early in its life, yet already firmly established in American commerce. Millions of these coins passed through hands during World War II, each one witnessing the ordinary and extraordinary moments of daily life in the early 1940s. The obverse of the 1941 nickel features the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. Jefferson's profile faces left, with his hair tied in a queue, capturing the elegant style of the late 18th century. On circulated coins, this portrait often appears smooth, worn, and softened from decades of use. The words, "In God We Trust," curve along the left side of the coin, hugging the rim. In circulated condition, these letters can appear faint in spots, depending on how heavily the coin was used over its long life in commerce. To the right of Jefferson's profile sits the word Liberty, followed by a small star, and then the date, 1941. For many collectors, the exact clarity of the date is one of the most important features, and on a circulated example some digits may show a little rounding or flattening. Because this 1941 nickel has no mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In this era, Philadelphia did not place mint marks on Jefferson nickels, making the absence of a mint mark typical for the period. Only Denver and San Francisco added mint marks during this year. The Philadelphia Mint produced a large number of 1,941 nickels, meaning they circulated widely across the country. Many remained in pocket change well into the 1960s and beyond, which explains the common heavily worn examples found today. On circulated pieces, Jefferson's cheek, jawline, and hair show the most noticeable wear. These high points often become smooth and shiny, reflecting the countless times the coin rubbed against other coins, pockets, and surfaces. Turning to the reverse, we find the iconic depiction of Jefferson's home, Monticello. Schlag's design presents the neoclassical building from a frontal perspective, showing the pillars, steps, and octagonal dome. On a heavily circulated 1941 nickel, these architectural elements often appear faint or flattened. The steps are frequently the first area to lose detail, followed by the small lines of the doorway and roof. Above Monticello is the enduring motto, E pluribus unum. Even on a worn coin, this phrase often remains legible, though the tops of the letters may show some softening from wear. Below the building is the word Monticello, which sometimes becomes faint on well-circulated examples. Still, its placement is unmistakable as part of the classic Jefferson nickel design. Under the building name lies the denomination, 5 cents. Because the letters are sharply engraved, these words often hold up better against wear than the surrounding design. Encircling the bottom of the reverse is the inscription, United States of America. This part of the design usually survives circulation well, remaining readable even on extremely worn coins. The circulated color of a 1941 nickel can vary from dull gray to deep charcoal, depending on environmental exposure. Nickel-copper composition reacts differently over time, often developing a soft, darker tone that adds character to old coins. Many circulated 1941 nickels show small contact marks, scratches, and abrasions. These are common signs of circulation and help tell the story of a coin that lived a full life in the hands of everyday Americans during and after the war era. Because this coin predates the wartime silver nickels of 1942 to 1945, the 1941 nickel is part of the last group of standard composition Jefferson nickels before the alloy was temporarily changed due to wartime metal shortages. This detail adds historical significance to the 1941 issue, making it a favorite for collectors who appreciate the transitional timeline of U.S. coinage history. A circulated 1941 nickel also holds sentimental value, as it represents an America on the brink of entering World War II. In 1941, daily life was changing rapidly, and currency like this nickel was essential in everyday purchases, rationing preparations, and savings efforts. Many coin collectors enjoy holding circulated nickels like this because they serve as tangible reminders of the era. Each worn feature reflects years of service before the coin finally found a resting place in a collection or coin jar. Despite being a common date, the 1941 nickel has enormous historical charm. It allows collectors to hold a small piece of early 1940s America, full of stories and unseen travels across time. Collectors who build full Jefferson nickel sets often include circulated examples of early dates, using them to compare wear patterns and study how the design evolved throughout decades of production. While the circulated condition may reduce numismatic value, it increases accessibility. These worn pieces provide an affordable entry point for new collectors who want to own pre-war coins without spending a lot of money. Even in circulated form, the 1941 nickel reflects the classic beauty of Schlag's design. The smooth surfaces and gentle wear give the coin a sense of age and authenticity that uncirculated examples do not always convey. Circulated coins also help numismatists identify strike characteristics from the Philadelphia Mint during this period. Some examples show weaker strikes, particularly in the steps of Monticello, a detail that becomes easier to evaluate even on worn pieces. As the coin ages, its metal surface may develop small pits or dark patches caused by moisture or environmental exposure. These features add to the personality of each individual coin. The 1941 nickel has now been circulating, or resting in collections, for more than 80 years. Coins from this era continue to fascinate collectors because of their longevity and the stories they silently carry. Even though millions were made, finding a well-preserved circulated piece today still delivers excitement, especially for collectors who appreciate vintage American coinage. The lack of a mint mark makes this coin instantly recognizable as a Philadelphia issue, and because Philadelphia produced the majority of 1941 nickels, these coins were widespread across the nation. As we conclude this exploration, the 1941 Jefferson nickel stands out as a simple yet powerful reminder of America's history. It carried value during a defining moment in world events, and its circulated condition reflects the many years it served the public. This coin may not shine like a new minting, but its worn surfaces speak louder than polish ever could. It represents endurance, history, and the continuous journey of American currency through time. Thank you for joining this detailed look into the 1941 Monticello 5-cent Jefferson nickel. For more historical coin stories, numismatic breakdowns, and fascinating deep dives, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected as we continue exploring the rich world of collectible coins.